Okay, we are recording. Okay, Amish, how are you? You good?
Fine, and you?
Good. So we're talking after 1 year. Is that right?
I, if I'm not mistaken, it was last COVID confinement.
Yeah. I think it is.
Yeah.
So actually, it's not a
Yeah.
bad thing, isn't it? COVID. We actually get to talk about spirituality.
We have some more time to take for ourselves. Well, it's true that it's an easy phase for those who are suffering, for those who are going through. But for those who are not into it, so we try to get the most of it. We try to be in a reflective mode, to be in a pensive mode, to reflect on the world, to reflect on everything around us. So we just let go, we just let it to come. Then we try to move. Yeah.
That's interesting. You're saying you let it come and then you try to move.
Yeah.
Because usually we're always trying to have the upper hand, isn't it? We are trying to force our way through things. But actually, what spirituality teaches us, it's actually to let go, and then make the move. That was actually a very good saying, isn't it?
We have to open up also to receive. We give, we let go, and we receive also. So
exactly,
it depends on which angle we put ourselves into, to be outside the door, inside the house. You see.
Yeah.
There's always this duality, to be in the middle path, to be in between, to be outside, inside, above, below. So we try to find a way in between. Yeah.
Yeah, true. But it's actually, created by the mind, duality. Does it really exist?
When we look into creation itself, so let's say creation started with a point. So it was one. Then from this one, it split into two. So here we can see how duality comes. Like we have gender, male, female. We have the active, the passive mode, right? We have the yin, we have the yang. So duality is the creation of this one single point of creation. So it started with one, it becomes two, then we try to find ourselves in between these two to get into alignment. Right?
Okay,
because
good.
We have the choice to do. We have the choice to accept. We have the choice not to accept. We have the choice to make this video, and we have the choice of not making it.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
And if we see, the brain itself is divided into two hemispheres.
Two hemispheres, exactly.
Yeah, so it's the duality aspect is within us, and we try to find the middle path, we could join the hemisphere,
which comes to the third eye when you try to visualize middle, right?
The Kundalini itself, the Ida and the Pingala, which
true.
We have the Sushumna, so we have to find the middle path, because being in two modes is not easy, because at times we feel ourselves in a good mood, at times in a bad mood, at times we are neutral, and when we are neutral, we see what's happening to us. We are not used to that. We're always used to get into all kinds of emotions. So when we are in this middle emotions, neither happy, neither sad, and we are just in the middle, we are in a state of non-comprehension, because we're not used to be in that state. I'm smiling, I'm happy, or I'm crying, I'm sad, but in between, what am I? Here, the mind, in fact, doesn't perturb the state, and it's quite tough to be in that state, because we have to be in this dual state. The mind will put us in this dual state, and instead we find ourselves in this state of nothingness, the state of we don't know what. The mind is destabilized. And it tries to find stability in duality, which is not the proper way.
So you actually hit on the title of today's conversation, which is nothingness.
Nothingness.
And I think it's because of the translation from Sanskrit, or possibly it's the only way we can describe that. that state you just described. We say it's nothingness. When I was a bit younger, I used to call it the void, but now I see it's dangerous to call it the void. You know, in Zen, it's called Kensho. Kensho is that
Okay.
state when you reach, where you reach in meditation, where you see everything as one. You don't. There's no you. There's no them. There's just what is.
Sure.
So we call
Yes.
that Kensho. And
Yeah.
now, is emptiness or nothingness really empty? It's nothing. And if it is nothing, why are we so excited about it? And why is it a big deal in spirituality if there's nothing? I mean, there's nothing to achieve. Why do people need to go there? You know, that's how the mind thinks, isn't it? Obviously, I know
Yeah.
what I'm saying, but for viewers
Uh,
who have not experienced it, let's say.
when we think of nothingness, can we say it is a state of non-existence? But we are existing.
Mm.
When we are existing, we have the mind, we have the body, we have the emotions, we have the senses, we have everything that we can put into existence. And what is not into that is nothingness. I believe that we need a conscience. We have a conscience. So wherever we put ourselves into, it is something. It is something which is existing. So it is existence. And for those things we cannot put ourselves into, the mind cannot grasp, the senses cannot grasp, the emotions cannot grasp. This can be termed as nothingness. Now, giving a definition of nothingness is impossible because the mind cannot grasp what's beyond its comprehension.
Yes.
If we are doing something, I'm speaking, so I'm in the existence, I'm existing. In existence, I speak, I exist. I'm not empty. I'm not full, I'm not complete, but I'm probably filled up to a certain level. Now, to get into that state of nothingness, of emptiness, we might say that we have to pour out everything out of us. So what comes out? I cannot pull out my life by myself. I cannot pull out my breath by myself. I cannot. Only if I die. I cannot pull out the senses of myself, so I am limited. In existence, we have this limitation. Now, what happens in nothingness? I don't know. Because the mind won't be able to grasp. So I don't know is itself an answer. Because the mind hasn't been able to put into words what I'm looking for outside this space. We are limited by time and space. In this non-existence, in this nothingness, there's no time, there's no space. So the dimensions doesn't exist. So not like I've said earlier, in between duality, we try to find this harmony in between. So there is no emotions, there's the no thought state, there's this no feeling state, there's the non-existence of the senses, but the mind won't be able to stay long in this state. That's where practices come forward. Like you mentioned the Kensho. So practices help us to change our perception or to understand our perception and to go beyond our perception. And at that moment, there's like this gain of mastery. When we master the mind, so the mind cannot transcend. And when we go to this other state, when coming back, still the mind won't be able to comprehend because it's only a state of existence in the non-existent. We'll come back to this something into nothing and nothing into something. You've
Yeah.
spoken about void. What is the void? Is it emptiness? When I go in space, I say it's empty. No, it isn't empty. Emptiness
isn't
doesn't
empty, yeah.
exist by itself, because
Mm.
whatever we see, whatever we perceive with our senses, we say it exists. With the mind, we can't see. Still, it exists. We have the stardust. We have the interstellar gases. So whatever we cannot see in space, in fact, it's full of something.
It's rich.
Now,
in fact.
the distance between my two fingers, there's a big space in between these two fingers.
There's actually
Even
an
if I
infinity
put-
between your two fingers.
Yeah. So in between the atoms itself, we have the nucleus and the electrons. So in between these two, there's an empty space. But this empty space does have something. It has a force. It has an energy. So still we are limited in matter, energy and matter, Einstein. There's light, there's energy.
And everything exists in emptiness, isn't it?
I believe so, because I was thinking about something. Emptiness can also be termed as full completeness.
Yeah.
It's so filled up that we cannot grasp.
Yeah.
So what
You
we
know, I
cannot
was
grasp.
talking to a friend. Yeah, sorry, Ramesh. Since you
It's
talk
fine.
about that emptiness is full, I just remember the conversation I was having with someone where something came up, and you find it interesting. It fits very well in your conversation. I was thinking about what's really perfect love. Okay, we talk a lot about love, unconditional love. You know, it has become the kind of new agey thing, unconditional love and all that thing. But what is real love? And I was thinking in terms of oneness we experience in spirituality, okay? So when I'm sitting, I'm looking at the wall, and I just look at the wall, I drop everything. I drop my body, I drop my mind, I drop my thoughts, my desires, my tears, my pain, everything. Once I finish dropping all of that, at that, there is a point where you experience the conscious state, which we say in Zen. That's where everything is one. You don't even realize you're sitting, or there's a wall. The wall is you, you are the wall. And you know, there's no labeling at all. The mind becomes like really, linear, but not monotonous. But it's in this state that you really see everything as beautiful. There's a kind of clarity which happens, and in that state, you can actually communicate with people without even thinking who you're talking to. You would just smile very easily. You'll talk to people. You connect so easily because you've actually dropped all the labels. And to me, this is the perfect love. So to me, the perfect love is even beyond gender, between man, woman, or mother, son, or whatever. It's just that connection, and that connection beyond labeling. That's love. I think that's my realization, and everything else, everything is made up by men.
Yes, it's transient. So while you were speaking, one word came into my mind. It's the merging of. Just explaining about fixing a point on the wall, then all what happens outside this point goes into nothingness. Then you become one with the wall. Then nothing exists more than that. Let's say that it's a kind of merging. You merge yourself into everything through the point, or through the point of focus, if I can say so. So when we merge, so if you look at the at creation, we have we put like the planets, the plants, the animals, humans, right? The stars. Where did all these come from? Am I not as equal as the stars? Am I not made of the same substance?
Same stuff, dust.
Am I not this dust, this stardust?
Yeah.
If creation came from this something which came out of nothing, and
Yeah.
it split into various things of existence,
Mhm.
so am I not part of this one thing which came out from nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, yeah, yeah, true.
I'm into this creation. I'm into this creation. I'm here. And our motto now is to go back to this source.
Mhm.
Now, I've explained about in terms of stardust, so it's matter, it's what we can see. And we have
Mhm.
the other side also, which we call the antimatter, which is invisible,
Mhm.
right? And we
Yeah.
speak about that existence within us. What's
Mhm.
motivating me to speak? Where
Mhm.
do those thoughts come from? Where
Mhm.
does my consciousness extract
Mhm.
knowledge of what is around me?
Mhm.
If we term this invisible energy as the soul, I'm speaking
Mhm.
about energy, it can be something else. Let's speak
Mhm.
about the soul. So, where
Mhm.
does this soul come from?
Mhm.
And where will it go?
Mhm.
If I say I'm in a state of existence,
Mhm.
as long as I am here, I'm aware.
Mhm.
I've been born and I will die. What
Mhm.
happens next? The famous
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
To maintain stability, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but can be
Mhm.
transformed into one form to another.
Mhm.
So, if the soul exists in this body dies,
Mhm.
can the soul stop or cease to exist?
Mhm.
Can it go to nothingness?
Mhm.
If nothingness, there's nothing. So how
Mhm.
can we add something to nothingness? It will no longer be
Mhm.
nothingness. It will
Yeah.
still stay in this form of existence, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
this transmigration of the soul, so we change body to body, we change a
Mhm.
state, but to keep the balance of existence, we have to be
Mhm.
somewhere. We cannot be in nothingness
Mhm.
because the moment we have something into nothingness, nothingness ceases to exist. It becomes
Mhm.
something. Now, when
Mhm.
we go beyond nothingness, that's the big question mark.
Mhm.
What happened before that something came? What is
Mhm.
there before
Mhm.
existence?
Mhm.
I don't know. The mind cannot grasp.
Mhm.
So, and if there's something in this nothingness, it cannot be nothingness. So, what's there?
Mhm.
And our pathway is at one point of time to get all these um, splitted energies from the initial source. Once they all merge back to the word merging, we merge back to this unit. We exist as one.
Mhm.
From this point, we come back to the source of creation. And from there, what's behind in the nothingness? If
Mhm.
we merge into nothingness, then we cease to exist. And to cease to exist means we are in nothingness, not by matter, not by energy, not by thought, by
Mhm.
nothing.
Mhm.
Was there something? What was the idea of creation? Was the desire from God? I don't know, but something happened. It's because of this
Mhm.
something that we have everything.
Mhm.
Nothing, nothing, something, everything. You see? So
Mhm.
our quest in spirituality is merging back to the source.
Mhm.
And from this point, when we all get unified, there is nobody, no emotions, no mind, uh, nothing. We
Mhm.
get back to it, it becomes a state.
Mhm.
Probably this is the state of bliss, and
Mhm.
this is the state of love.
Mhm.
If you can term love to be bliss,
Mhm.
to be the truth, to be
Mhm.
the universal consciousness.
Mhm.
I won't be there in this body to be able to experience this thing,
Mhm.
because the body will cease to exist. I'll be, even the I won't exist.
Yeah.
You will not exist, but we'll merge some way, somehow, at one point of time. There's one theory of creation, emancipation, getting back to this unit point, to dissolution. So there's
Mm.
creation, there's the movement of creation towards dissolution, and the cycle
Mhm.
starts again. This is one theory.
Yeah. Mm. There is. You know, in the middle of all of that you explained, um, I mean, that's the part which is, I think, not misunderstood, but maybe it's a bit blurry because people get it, okay, logically, or if they've experienced something in their meditation practice, they know there is something, okay? Now, the problem I see is people wanting to be there the whole time. Usually when I conduct meditation session, the general feedback is, I didn't want to come back, or I wanted to stay there. And while it's interesting, I mean, to hear that, because they were able to access something maybe they wouldn't have been able to, I still find it to be a concern that there's actually sort of, we are trying to run away from the present moment, because even if you do realize nothingness and oneness, because eventually nothingness and oneness is the same thing, isn't it, when you look at it, uh, when you experience that, we should not forget that eventually behind the big realization we have this body. We have this body which is going to become sick. At some point, the body is going to die. And we need to take care of the body, because if we have this in our mind, because I do know people like this who keep telling me that, I want to be in the fifth plane. I can't deal with life here. I see that to be a problem, in fact, because there's that constant running away from the problem of life. While I see that this is the platform, COVID, suffering, we are in lockdown and we're dealing with emotions. I see that as quite liberating, in fact, even if it's tough, because to me, real practice is here in the middle of chaos. So I think it's bridging both, not denying your existential crisis, that you have a body, you have emotions, which are going to mess up your mind from time to time. It's not, once you get there, it's a new vision and all suffering ends. I think maybe suffering becomes more once you get there, because you do realize everything in your life, there's something higher than that, but you still have your duties. You still, you can't just go in the mountain and be in oneness.
I'm thinking of remembrance, right? If the mind exists, if the consciousness exists, it had to start somewhere, right? When there was nothing, then oneness came, right? All these memories are there in this consciousness state, right? And this consciousness, it moves from one state to the other, right from creation, the single pointed creation, oneness, to what we are today, to what is going to be in the future. So this consciousness is pure and it has memory, not the memory as we associate it to the mind. I'm speaking about another kind of memory. Let's mention it as record, to keep a record, right? So all these record is kept in the consciousness. When we find people, like you said, they are in a state of meditation, they feel good, and they don't want to come back. to this mundane state.
Samsara.
Yeah. So I sense that when they get into that state, the tits and bits of this remembrance of this initial state of creation comes back, because that's the moment during the meditation that we get back to ourselves, our real self, not with the koshas, not with the body, not with the shape of what exists around. So when we go into that deep state, we sense, we go back to creation, we go back to this oneness. So when we're in a crisis, yes, people have stopped from moving. Again, a calamity bringing sense to the world. Whenever there's a transition, we go through a bad phase. This transitional phase is quite difficult. It could have been a calamity of nature. Now it's like a human calamity. And we have to reset everything. When we have to reset everything, we go through this state of nothingness, of poise, of void. We don't know what to do. And we try to find solutions. The last time it happened, I guess, was during the World War. Again, we don't know what's going to happen. Then came the Industrial Revolution. So there was a revolution. There was something. There was a technological build-up. Now what's going to come? I don't know. Something is going to crop up for sure. It's going to be something will evolve. And it will evolve from the human mind. The human being at this point of existence, at this point of evolution, where he can use this faculty. But to tap into this faculty, we have to go to this creative part, creativity part. And that's where the energy of creativity just molds up. And we'll go back to ourselves, we'll go back to reflection, we'll go back to what we know, we'll go back to all the memories, and something will light up. I guess this is that thing that we have to do. One person at a time, probably, but we have millions of people pondering of how to evolve. Those who are in business will think of something, a strategy. What are we going to do in case we go through another period of confinement? The educational sector, what are we going to do in case we can't have a classroom, a physical classroom? Politicians will think of how we can, what we have to do to be able to change the political aspect of the country. How to take decisions for the benefit of the population. So everybody somewhere, somehow, is trying to work out their mind. And they are going to tap in this consciousness. And when they get into this state of reflection, and at one point, they're going to be in this sea of stability, in this sea of tranquility. And from there will emerge the idea. When you have chaos, you need to have order. Chaos doesn't exist by itself. And order doesn't exist without chaos. Now we are in a period of chaos. So order will come. How will it come? It's when we go to this level of stability. And once again, it happens deep within ourselves, in this state, in this place where we don't know where it exists. Where does the mind exist in the body? Most of us will think it's in the brain, memory. But the DNA holds memory. Water molecules hold memory. And we are composed of all these. So I would say differently. Memory doesn't stay here. It's all within us, around us. And there's the collective memory, which is
the big mind.
The big mind. which is all around us.
Yeah.
So we just have to tap in, right?
Mhm.
But to get to this point, to get the idea, to get the solution, we have to go back. We have no choice, in fact. We have to go and search. While
Yeah.
searching, be it in a meditative state, be it in reflection, be it in any kind of practices, we will go back to this state. Like
Yeah.
when we sleep, we don't know what's happening when we sleep. It's at
Mhm.
one point where we don't know if we exist or not. Can we term
Mhm.
the sleep as nothingness? Why do we need to sleep?
Mhm.
Only because of physical exhaustion or mental exhaustion?
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
is it more than that? I believe
I
it's
think
more
it's
than that.
there to make us realize that there is existence beyond what we view as existence. In fact, sleep is the proof that there is something beyond the body and the mind, because you're still alive when you sleep, and sleep is fundamentally important in terms of self-repairing and all that. And in the same way, meditation also happens to be important because there's a lot of trauma release which happens in the initial stages, and then there is that discovery that which you were speaking about, understanding that there is existence beyond labeling, beyond thinking, beyond everything that we do in the physical life, because the mind, I mean, not the mind you were referring to, but the mind people or can connect to right now. The mind is divisive. It divides everything: men, women, gender, rich, poor. I am like this, you are like that. You behave like this, I am like that, and belief system. And then people were not clever enough to create religion, to create other things, to create social status, and then try to identify yourself in terms of body color and all that nonsense that was created by mankind. I think the mess we are in right now has been created by us.
It's because of this intelligence.
I won't view it as intelligence. I don't think that's intelligent. I was talking to someone last time, and I was telling the person, a rock is more wise than us. And I was saying that, the rock sits there in my garden, does not try to become a better rock, does not try to become a tree, takes the rain, takes the sun, takes the people walking on it, and it stays in its nature, rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we constantly want to be this, want to be that, want to get more money, want to be recognized. We have that craving that we don't accept our existence, So do you think we are the intelligent creature? I mean, we can use it for great things, okay? I mean, science, for example, but we do so much harm also with it.
Yeah. In fact, intelligence came for the betterment of ourselves. But we've got the willpower also. So, and when we put the willpower, I try to find where can I outdo the others. There's this in human evolution, you can see that there's always the leader. There's always someone who has to rule. There are communities. In the communities, you need to have one person at least who's going to take control over the herd, you see. So each one uses his or her intelligence in his or her own way, and there's the aspect of control. Okay, so man started like that. He discovered his potentials. He discovered his intelligence, that he have different how I say that, he's different from all other existence of nature, among animals, among plants. And when he discovered his potentials, he tried to use it for his betterment. It was always about his, the I. And this I developed from the caveman to us.
Mm.
If we keep on going in this trend, it's going to be in the future us.
Yeah.
So the I, how do I outdo? Now among men, how can I show that I am far greater than the other person?
Mm.
It
Yeah.
happened during the empires. Each
Mm.
empire trying to get to grow its empire,
Yeah.
right? It still exists in the society.
Mm.
Status. I'm
Mm.
always above. I try to become one way ahead. I want to be a better person materially,
Mm.
even spiritually. People try to go. We
Mm.
try to move the stairs, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
probably the quest was to find a better us within ourselves. But we saw it
Mm-hmm.
easier to become a better person with right to the others. Not a better person, sorry, to be a
Mm.
better, someone of a higher power as compared to the others. If we, instead
Mm-hmm.
of dispensing this energy with right to others, if we would have used all those energy we put into that within ourselves, then we grow differently. That's what
Mm.
differentiates people and masters.
Mm.
People who are in the mundane life, who are always running for power and power and power, and people who are
Mm-hmm.
sages, not necessarily those in the mountains. There are so many
Yeah.
good businessmen who have achieved a lot, but he's a better
Mm.
person because he also tried to master himself. So he used this energy within himself,
Mm-hmm.
increases his potentials, and he has the power to control his senses, his mind,
Mm-hmm.
his emotions, and how to react with right to things.
Mm.
It's where we situate ourselves. If I
Mm.
find myself to be in a state of completion, what will I do next?
Mm.
I'm complete, I'm full. There's no purpose of my existence. That's where
Mm.
desire comes.
Mm.
I will always try to find to do something because I'm not satisfied with my completeness. Let's say
That's a good one.
I start to I start my adult life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've got my house, I've got my car, I've got my wife, I've got my kids, I got everything.
Mm.
In fact, I have everything, materially
Mm.
speaking. I have enough money to live or to survive. I have enough food to eat. I have shelter. I have everything. Yet, I'm not satisfied, despite being
Mm.
complete in one sense. So, what do? I try to get promotion. If I don't get promoted, I try to find another job which will bring me more money, desires. But those people who have reached a degree of completeness and they accept that they have everything, things change for them because feeling complete brings you more opportunities. What kinds of opportunities? It's not that you go and run towards things, it's
Yeah.
that things come towards you. You can sit idle, feeling complete, not lazy, and you dispense only 1 second to have an idea and you grow this idea into a project. Or I feel incomplete. I spend hours and hours to find ways to feel complete, and I don't even get this idea to build to grow into a certain kind of project. So I've I've noticed so many people who have reached a degree of completeness, be it material, emotional, mental, and even spiritual. They are complete, and things always grow for them, always, because it's how they process things. This means that they have achieved, not by spending hours blindly, but by using this second to accept that we have everything within us, we have everything around us, and then only you open doors to make things happen. We don't go and grab, and trying to run after things. We don't have to run after things. Things must come towards you. Well, it's out of nothingness and emptiness. Yet, well, if we consider the completeness being a state of full, and nothingness being a state of full completeness, it's in that state that we say that the universe can give you anything, be it material or spiritual. All those sages have attained all those financial stability. They live, they discover suffering, they go beyond suffering. Then they try to seek knowledge. They go beyond knowledge. And they come to one state where they say, I don't need anything. I just want to be. I am one in this bliss. I am one with this everything. I'm one with nothing. And they are full, they are complete in having nothing.
I think we're going to stop here today, and the next week's session is going to be about, I can already think about the title, how much desire do we need? So that would be the next week.
Okay.
Next week's episode.
Okay.
So thanks a lot, Hamish, for coming today.
My pleasure.
I think
pleasure.
it was an amazing chat. See you very
As
soon.
usual.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.